an important occasion by being present here today. That said, I do not have any statement to make, but I am sure that some of you may have some questions on a variety of issues, and I am willing to answer all of them one by one. So let's take the first question.
Thank you. The Ministry of External Affairs looks at the move of the present government, Mr. Modi's government, to invite the leaders of SAARC nations. And do you think that it has come, all of a sudden for the Ministry of External Affairs?
I don't know what you're saying. Why are you making a different? I understand your question, but I think philosophically I don't understand that. The invitations went from the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Sujata Singh, on behalf of the Government of India. So what's there? Why do you make that distinction between the Ministry of External Affairs, which is implementing the decisions of elected representatives of India? Is that not what all democracy is all about? Yes. Manish? Yes, please, Manish.
Akbar, how do you look at the timing of the attack on the Indian Consulate in Jalalabad, in Herat, sorry? And could you give us an update in terms of where is our investigation pointing to, who's behind this attack?
Manish, you already have heard the responses of the Indian leadership on that. Obviously, all of us strongly condemn this cowardly terrorist attack on the Indian Consulate in Herat in the strongest possible terms. This attack once again underscores that the main threat to Afghanistan and its peace and stability and security stems from terrorism beyond its borders. Our diplomatic premises in Afghanistan have been repeatedly attacked by elements who clearly do not support the Afghan people's effort to rebuild and redevelop their country. Attacks of this nature will not dilute India's commitment to assisting Afghanistan in its reconstruction and development efforts. As you are aware, our leadership has saluted the valiant efforts of the Afghan National Security Forces, who immediately came to the assistance of the consulate and succeeded in neutralizing the terrorists. This is a debt of gratitude that we shall never forget. Now, as regards anything else, we are right now, even as all of you are assembled here, we are assessing the situation. Obviously, this is a whole of government of India approach that we take in such matters, and that is being undertaken right now. Once we are further ahead on this, even while we work with our Afghan friends, because ultimately it is their territory, they have the resources and information on that, we will work with them very closely and share the outcomes with you at a certain stage. Yes, ma'am. Padma Rao.
Akbar, can you just recap for us who all has been elected for the inaugural among the regional countries, who have accepted, and also there is a tweet from President Sri Lanka that he, in order to, to counter the reaction from the Tamil Nadu politicians, he's considering bringing the Chief Minister of the Northern Province, Justice Vigneshwaran, also with him. Could you outline and confirm who's confirmed and whether you have a confirmation of the Sri Lankan?
Okay, let me start with giving you the factual information that you have asked, and that is invitations were sent to 8 leaders, and we have confirmation from 7 of them. And these are from Afghanistan, President Hamid Karzai; From Maldives, President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom. From Sri Lanka, President Mahinda Rajapaksa. From Bhutan, Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay. From Mauritius, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, who is the Prime Minister of Mauritius. From Nepal, Mr. Sushil Koirala. And from Bangladesh, Dr. Shireen Sharmeen Chowdhury, who is the Speaker. These were the invitations sent and which have been accepted. And as you all are aware, we had also invited the Prime Minister of Pakistan. We are awaiting their response on that. Now, as regards your question of what are the constitution of each of these delegations, it is normal diplomatic practice that it is the privilege and the prerogative of the leader of the delegation to choose who he or she would like to have in his or her delegation. As a host country, India will be gracious and accept the delegation as is decided upon by the leader of the delegation of that country. Yes, Mr. Venkat Narayan.
For the SAARC leaders, and we will also be having bilateral meetings. But is there any possibility of having a mini summit of all the leaders at one place to sort of kickstart the entire moribund SAARC process? Thanks.
I can take issue with you on several points, some factual and some that you have offered to comment on. Let me start by saying it's normal for a host to have a occasion when such leaders come for any event to host them for a dinner or a meal. And in this context, a dinner is being hosted. I think you've got your facts wrong about the host. Number two, you had asked about bilateral meetings. Again, it's normal practice that when a senior leader comes to your country as a gracious host, you also have short meetings which are of a limited duration as a courtesy and as a gesture to the incoming guest. We pride ourselves on being gracious hosts, and therefore there will be short duration meetings on basis of very limited number of participants between our leadership and the visiting leaders. These will be individual meetings. They will be structured on the 27th, taking into account schedules of departure, and we will provide you these details because there will be photo opportunities for you to be present and capture these for history. Yes, Sachin?
So coming back to the attack in Afghanistan, is the timing of it significant, coming as it does at a time when we are awaiting response from Mr. Nawaz Sharif on the invite sent by Mr. Modi? Thanks.
It is your prerogative as a journalist to arrive at conclusions. It is my duty as a diplomat to assess and weigh every issue before I arrive at that conclusion. As I indicated to you, we are right now in a process of examining what are the issues in an event which we have all condemned and which has certainly shaken our officials there. But we are now assessing these events carefully, going through them and evaluating what they mean in terms of other issues. So I wouldn't like to jump to any conclusion at this stage, but I would like to assure you that we are examining all these matters very closely. Yes, ma'am. Just.
I just wanted a bit of context. Is it correct that this is the first time that all SARC leaders would be invited to a prime ministerial inauguration? Has it been the past practice of other foreign leaders to, of India to invite other foreign leaders to inaugurations? I just would like a bit of the context of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Well, I must confess, my archival knowledge is limited. And there are many colleagues here who have been following foreign affairs since then. And I'm certain that they could confirm to you that as far as an invitation for the entire leadership of South Asian countries to an Indian swearing-in ceremony is concerned, this is a first. What? Pardon?
Other foreign leaders from other countries. I mean, I guess, is it typical that, say, in an inauguration like the last two administrations led by Dr. Singh or previous to that, were foreign leaders from any country typically invited?
I'm not an archival historian. I'm a practicing diplomat who has very limited vision, according to all of you. But I will take that and say that this is a first as far as Indian diplomacy is concerned. So we are working, and that's why all our effort is to ensure success of this first event of its sort. Yes. Dr. Akhilesh Suman.
So there has been a coup in Thailand, and India's role, no one understands what role India is going to play in this point of time when you are stuck up with a new government and consulate is being attacked from Afghanistan, and even a military team has been sent to Thailand for some exercise. So what is the situation and how do you think it?
Again, I must say that the vocabulary that you use is alien to what is normal diplomatic discourse on such matters. I don't know why you should feel that a democratic transition is something that you describe in rather, if this was parliament, it would be unparliamentary language. But that said, let me try and focus on the substance of your issue. And that is that, yes, India is concerned with the recent developments in Thailand. We are monitoring the evolving situation closely. The Indian community in Thailand is safe. Affinities. We hope for an urgent political resolution and restoration of normalcy based on the principles of democracy, the will of the people, and the rule of law in Thailand. I hope I've answered that question. And then you have another question, and that I understand relates to certain Indian troops in Thailand who have gone there, and they were to start their exercises called the Maitri exercise. My understanding is that our troops currently in Thailand for the Maitri exercises have been advised to return to India. Yes, sir.
My question pertaining to Sri Lanka, draw your attention on Sri Lanka. New government is looking at this Tamil Nadu political parties and the Chief Minister's reaction.
I'm afraid I only reflect issues relating to foreign policy. What you are referring to is beyond my normal domain because these impact on matters of a domestic nature relating to political parties and their approaches on a specific issue. So I won't be able to answer that question. That said, I can say as the Ministry of External Affairs, we take a whole of government and a whole of India approach. And it was based on that approach and understanding that an invitation was sent to a close and friendly neighbor, that is Sri Lanka. Yes, Maya?
Akbar, sorry, I think I may have missed the initial part of your briefing, but I wanted to just clarify the assessment on the attack on the consulate in Herat. Who you think is responsible, and if indeed the attack could have been planned outside or beyond Afghanistan's borders, are we then directly pointing a finger at Pakistan? And if so, what does that mean for inviting Nawaz Sharif on Monday?
I mentioned, I think you missed out when I mentioned that there is currently a process underway which is examining all these issues. All would suggest that these are available on the record and you can use that. Yes, sir.
Has sought inputs from the ministry before the invitation was sent out for the SAARC heads of state?
Sir, those of you who are here and who've come before are aware that I never use this pulpit to discuss intra-governmental issues. That's always been, the Ministry of External Affairs takes a whole of government and a whole of India approach. And I will not deviate from that. Yes. Ranjana?
Sir, have any opposition leaders also been invited, SAARC opposition leaders? The talk that Begum Khalida Zia is invited.
Ranjana, in response to an earlier question, I explained to you all the invitations that were sent. Beyond that, it is the prerogative of the leader of any delegation to bring any member from his or her country they may feel appropriate. And we will, as gracious hosts, give them the hospitality. And we have not invited anybody else. Yes, yes.
Akbar, the invitation to the Prime Minister of Mauritius was sent along with the invitation to the SAARC leaders, is it? I mean, and why? Could you explain that one, please?
Sure. Let me explain. The invitations to the SAARC leaders were sent as a collectivity in terms of South Asian neighbors. Also, there have been several leaders who have been congratulating and getting directly in touch on telephone to wish the Prime Minister designate their best wishes and congratulations. The letter or the invitation to the Prime Minister of Mauritius follows one such contact. Yes, Naz.
Hello. The Indian embassy and the Indian missions in Afghanistan have been subject of attacks several times in the past. So, I mean, whether in the light of these attacks and the final investigation as to who were the people behind that, whether you are getting some cue from the previous experience as to who might be behind these attacks?
I understand your desire for instant information. But that said, there is a process underway, and I said even while we are speaking, that process is underway in another part of the capital city. Please allow that process to play itself out normally, and you will know the outcome. Yes, just a minute. Shinjoy?
Are there at Herat in the consulate, and how many in the other consulates in Afghanistan?
In terms of diplomatic and official personnel in our consulate in Herat, the numbers are in single digits. Of course, in addition, we also have, as you are aware, brave ITBP Jawans who are deployed personnel, but the numbers, as far as Herat is concerned, the primary areas that our consulate in Herat focuses on relates to development projects. We have several small development projects in that region. Also, those of you who are aware that we are undertaking a major we are a patient people and we will wait for the outcome of that process. Yes, sir.
पाकिस्तान की जेलों में हमारे इंडियन फिशरमैन सभी उनकी क्या पोजीशन है और क्या कुछ ऐसे भी सिग्नल्स हैं कि उनको कुछ वो लोग छोड़ने जा रहे हैं?
My understanding is that there are, as of today, more than 360, I think if I'm not right, 362 Indian prisoners in Pakistani jails. These include some of them who we understand are going to be relieved. But our approach has always been, as far as we in India are concerned, that once a fisherman or a civilian prisoner completes his term, we release them. There are others who adopt other approaches and they may use occasions to release them. Yes, Parul.
You had taken up this matter of two Indian journalists being asked to leave Islamabad with the Pakistani government. Have you got any response to that?
Yes, following the decision by the Pakistani government to ask the two Indian journalists to leave within a week. Our Deputy High Commissioner in Islamabad, Shri Gopal Bagle, had taken this matter up with the concerned counterpart of his in the Pakistani Foreign Ministry. Obviously, you can see that since then they have returned, and we have not been satisfied. We have not had the satisfaction of our response being let me rephrase it. We've not had the satisfaction of our request being responded to satisfactorily. Yes, Ranjit?
The IFSA summit has been scheduled on 6th of June. So would you confirm, are you going to organize it?
I don't think your facts are correct. Yes,
well, today Dr. Hamid Karzai has talked to Mr. Modi, Prime Minister designate. I have heard that what you have said in the media, but I am asking that whether he has also shared the same perception that the elements beyond the border of Afghanistan are involved in this attack?
Look, when two leaders of two countries talk, they share a lot of information. And it is not my duty to share with you all elements of that information, because then it would be a public diplomacy effort rather than a confidential conversation between two leaders at a very high level. What I can tell you about that conversation, however, that it was a conversation which lasted approximately 10 minutes. It was initiated by President Karzai, during which he did brief Prime Minister designate about the attack and assured him that Afghanistan would do everything to protect India's missions located there. Prime Minister designate thanked President Karzai for the efforts of the brave Afghan forces who had been able to thwart the attack. He assured President Karzai that the attacks of this nature will not dilute India's commitment to assist Afghanistan. He also assured President Karzai about the abiding friendship between the people and governments of India, and said that he looked forward to receiving President Karzai here in New Delhi next week. Yes, sir. Just a minute.
Did President Karzai also speak to NG or vice versa?
I have no information of that as of now. I don't think so as of now. I think we've exhausted the questions, and thank you very much for being here this afternoon, and we will meet now regularly from next week in the same format. Thank you.